Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Amber Data Derivatives podcast. I'm very pleased to have Stephan, the CEO of BitMEX, here with us today, as well as Mario, the founder of PowerTrade. And we just recently read the announcement of BitMEX launching options and options offering. So we're really excited to have both of them on to speak about that. Stephan, how are you?
Hey, Greg. I'm fine. Super excited and good to be with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mario, I'll jump to you right after, but maybe Stefan, if you could just give a brief overview about sort of the recent announcement of BitMEX offering options for the first time.
Yes, sure. Yeah, as you rightly pointed out, so we went live with options. So one could say, okay, another options offering, what's the matter? So I think the matter here is manifold. We thought about it and being we consider ourselves as one of the crypto OG derivatives exchanges in the space. And when we came up with options, we wanted to do something that's slightly differentiated. And we wanted to do it in a fast way. That's why we partnered with PowerTrade. PowerTrade has great experience in options trading and options market making. So that's pretty good. And they have a nice risk engine. So, but what it is about? So number one is we have USDC denominated options, which enables you to have an easy to understand and intuitive pricing, right? Usually options are margined as well as priced in BTC, which for us is no problem. I mean, we live out of the BTC margined and BTC priced perps and futures. But for the user base that comes to the market, and that is new to options, it's quite difficult. If you need to first recalculate and do the conversion into Bitcoin, then into US dollars, I mean, that's quite difficult. So we decided and gratefully PowerTrade could deliver that solution to have USDC denominated and priced options. And number two, we have a kind of multi-asset margining. So you can come with different currencies as a margining currency. They will be transferred automatically into a USDC denomination. So you see your position in USDC, but you're able to provide other margining currencies as well, which is a huge step, especially for BitMEX. I mean, BitMEX is basically BTC margin. Yes, we have ETH margin and USDT margin too, but having that all in one and being able to fuel your options trading by that, big thing for us is BitMEX. So it makes it easy for you if you are a trader. And number three for me, I mean, there is more, but number three for me, the biggest one for me, or two things. One is low or low lot sizes. So the minimum amount you need to trade is just 0.01 BTC or zero point 0.1 ETH, which is much lower than with our competitors. And number two, we even offer and we will add to the range AltCoin options, which is new as well. So we are, I think, the only one who has Doge options right now, which is quite difficult in one way, but we think it's a big thing. So you see it already. We are more geared, or we wanted to combine the institutional grade offering and institutional grade quality, but have a product that's equally worth for individual traders, right? Low lot sizes, USDC denominated, multi-asset margining, and portfolio margining on top of it, and then even the altcoin options here.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And Mario, I'll jump to you in 1 second. I just want to cover a couple of things that Stefan just mentioned. So
Sure.
with the cross-asset margining, so even though my options are USDC based, I could still have Bitcoin in my account and have the Bitcoin as collateral for my USDC based options portfolio. Is that right?
Exactly. Those BTC, you can transfer your BTC into your options account. They will be automatically calculated into USDC and transferred into USDC. If you want to then withdraw Bitcoin again, it will be done automatically. So no need for you to do anything.
Oh, that's fantastic. And then another thing that you mentioned is, so now we have Dogecoin options on BitMEX, very exciting. There's also Solana and Ethereum and Bitcoin. So one of the things that was always interesting with to me about the USDC options is now you can have sort of one collateral base to trade maybe ETH options and Bitcoin options kind of all in one portfolio. Is that true? Can I have multiple different currency options and collateralized?
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes.
So now you can start doing some really interesting relative
Sorry,
vol plays.
easy answer. I can't say more. It's just a yes.
That's fantastic. I think that will be a nice unlock for new types of trading strategies. So
Yes.
Mario, maybe you could just touch on sort of the background behind the relationship with BitMEX and PowerTrade. PowerTrade has been around for a while. You guys have a great platform, as Stephan mentioned, risk engine, a really nice options offering. How did this come about for you guys to work together?
Yeah, we got introduced to BitMEX. I believe it was in July of last year. That's when we started discussing. We've known BitMEX for a long time. Obviously, they're the OG in the business. We were pretty excited about the potential partnership at the time, given their experience in running exchanges. And then the discussions started. It took a few months to come to an agreement. And then we were full on working on the integration. I think it was November or December of last year. And for that, if you see how it works, actually, it's quite seamless. If you're a BitMEX user, you just set up your options sub account, you put your money in there, and there you go, you can trade. There's nothing else you need to do. But in reality, underneath the hood, there's a real-time settlement system that we built with BitMEX. Took us a while to do that, a lot of QA that is moving all the funds between the two platforms and between the sub accounts and the settlement account. So it's actually quite advanced and sophisticated settlement, real-time settlement going on underneath there. So it's, yeah.
So that's really interesting. So just to make sure that I understand correctly, so the settlement tech stack is essentially the PowerTrade tech stack, but it's been integrated in a seamless fashion. So like if I'm a BitMEX customer, there's no change to me. It doesn't really matter to
Yes,
me. But now,
exactly. Yeah.
oh, that's fantastic. So now we're essentially using PowerTrade's risk engine, PowerTrade's like mark prices and things like that, just to essentially have like an efficient market. And things like portfolio margin and standard margin, how do you guys think about that? Is that something that's currently offered or planned to be offered in the future, some sort of portfolio margin?
I mean, this probably goes more to us because for the options piece, we have that.
Mm-hmm.
This is portfolio margining. What we work on right now as BitMEX is basically bringing that to the next level and having portfolio margining and portfolio margining and cross-asset margining for our core exchange platform as well. So my tech teams in the background are working full speed on that so that hopefully, let's say, this is pressure. We had that already, but we want to basically go live with something, let's say, during Q3, maybe early Q4 latest this year as well. Hopefully earlier. I just don't want to overpromise and then underdeliver, right? I mean, we know it's quite difficult. And then integrate that fully so that for a BitMEX user, and this is what we basically see as BitMEX as the main benefit in working together with PowerTrade, that BitMEX users don't need to change. They have our wallet infrastructure, they have our security, they're covered by our insurance fund, right? So, and they can trade options. And as Mario said, with the real-time engine behind it and the real-time settlement, we make sure that there are no open risks. So it's not that something could fall between the cracks or all of a sudden something is gone. We're monitoring that quite closely because that's basically at our heart. And we have seen that already. So for now, I mean, you could say it could be more, but 2,000 BitMEX users so far have set up their options accounts and have traded options on PowerTrade.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, so I want to touch on that point a little bit more. So I remember back in the day, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, Arthur Hayes had made the argument that, we actually don't really need options because perpetuals can get you the same type of exposure that you want. I think he's changed his opinion since then. But so that was kind of an interesting argument. I'm curious, out of the BitMEX users, like you said, about 2,000 have shown interest into options. So that's actually pretty big because I think the industry is still very small for the crypto volatility trading space.
Yes.
So maybe you could touch a little bit more on that, on the interest from customers.
Yeah, happy to start. Maybe Mario wants to add to that because they are the options guys. From my point of view, there are certain, let's say, arguments or points to be made. Arthur is in a way correct. You can mimic that. I mean, if you play around quantitatively with dated futures, perps, short, long, sub accounts, etc., you can create a kind of similar payout profile. But this is only for pros. Right, this is for people who sit in front of either a screen or their Excel tables or however they program it these days and monitor it in real time. Otherwise, you're screwed, frankly. So while, and this is why we designed the product in that certain way. So just to name it, and it's not an elephant in the room. If you look at Derivs, this is a very institutional grade and institutional investor geared platform. How they came up with the contracts. They started with inverse contracts. They are BTC margin. So if you have the infrastructure to deal with it, it's no issue. You can trade it. It's pretty good, right? But if you're new to the space, you're like, what should I do? It's not intuitive, right? You need to rebuild, or you need to build even your strategies yourself with a PowerTrade, especially front end, which I personally, I love it. You can build your own strategies. It's not as easy as trading a perp. You still need to go in and have a little bit of education and make sure you understand the metrics and, okay, it's expiry and strike price and request for quote, but you can have your multi-leg strategy and request the quote for that. So basically, if you have an opinion on how the market will go, you can say, I want to have this payout profile. What does it cost me? And then, because you're usually combining more for the end user, like long strategies, not short option strategies, you pay your premium, which is more than what you pay for funding or for fees in the perps world. But you can go to sleep with peace of mind because you won't lose. There is no liquidation if you're long in your option strategy. I mean, if you go short, which is possible, because you want to have, it's, as you say, it's this volatility play, right? If you say, hey, Bitcoin moves between 60 and 70K, and I'm totally sure that this will hold for the next 3 weeks, hey, just go short butterfly and you earn some additional money. That's fine. So, but this is something which you could potentially somehow replicate even with dated futures and perpetuals, but doing so is overly complicated for the individual trader. So yes, the big household names in crypto, like a Jane Street, yeah, for them it's like, so what, right? But for the individual user who says, I have an idea about volatility in the market, this offering is really making a difference. I mean, still, I'm aware of the fact that for the average perp trader, going to an options front end is quite like, what is this? It looks completely different, because in perps and dated futures, you have your chart and you just say buy, sell. I mean, yes, I mean, you can have all the other options, but it's basically buy, sell. So go long, go short, and you slide your leverage. That's it. Here you need to go to, okay, do I go long options? Do I go short? Is it a call? Is it a put? What's the maturity? What's the strike price, right? And then you need to think about it. You need to look for, do I go at the money options? Do I go far out of the money options? How does it work? So it is more complex, but it provides much more potential strategies you can play. And as I said, main reason for me is with peace of mind. I mean, I did that in the current environment myself. Not bragging, I think it's not a very good trade. But at some point in time, I was completely annoyed by, not personally, this is just not for the market, but for me, for my portfolio. And I'm like, you know what? I stopped for a while trading a Bitcoin future. I go into a butterfly strategy via options, because I could just go to bed at night and say, you know what? I'm sleeping. I don't think about US trading hours. I'm sitting in Asia, right? So in Singapore. This is what it gives you, and this is what is geared and built for better usability for individual traders. That's really what we are after.
Yeah, that's a great point. And, you know, sort of if we think about the Black-Scholes model, the Black-Scholes model essentially shows us how to use dynamic hedging to replicate an options payoff, but dynamic hedging is a lot of work and you got to be staring at it all the time. So that's a great point. Maybe, Mario, you could touch on, you know, with multi-legged strategies, is that something that, you know, you guys are offering, or can people settle like a block trade or multi-legged strategy? How does that work right now? I know block trading is about 35% of the Derivs volume blocked through Paradigm. Is that something that you guys are offering, or combo spreads or things like that?
Yeah, that's supported via BitMEX. So if you're a BitMEX user, you can do multi-leg strategies. There's a pull-down menu that shows all the different strategies that you can trade. In addition to that, we have RFQ, which is request for quote, offered through BitMEX as well. In fact, just today we have a market maker that's starting to auto quote these strategies, which means fantastic. As soon as you put a strategy, you get automatically a quote for you, a price for your strategy, and you can trade it it gets executed atomically on the exchange. It doesn't go leg by leg. So it's pretty much the same kind of features that you'll find somewhere else in other RFQ platforms, like the ones you mentioned. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. And yeah, to the butterfly trade mentioned earlier, that's a very low risk trade going long to butterfly. But if you're legging one leg at a time, it moves around a lot while you're trying to put it on. So it's great that you can do the whole package all in one shot. That's fantastic. So one of the things that I'm really excited about is the Dogecoin options. How did you guys decide on Dogecoin as the altcoin? Also, is the plan for BitMEX to offer more altcoin options over time? How are you guys thinking about that?
Starting off here again, and then over to Mario. I mean, Doge for us was something we wanted to do because even if you let's say walk around at BitMEX offices, although we are a really Bitcoinist exchange, we are really Bitcoin maximalists at our heart, right? I mean, more personally, but with Bitcoin comes Doge. I mean, it is just like this. I mean, you see what's going on, you follow it, you follow Elon. It's a matter of, yes, there is a financial impact, but it's fun as well. And Doge actually is one of the most traded altcoins. So it's kind of the for me, in terms of how it's used, it's like on the border between the main coins and the altcoins. It's not really something like an NFT meme coin, real altcoin, but it's not quite the layer one protocol coin, right? So I mean, this is a session in itself. So, but this led us to say, hey, let's go for Doge, right, as the first one, and then to open up. I mean, we have Solana as well already, and we want to have more. The main difficulty here, frankly, is always liquidity. It's not so much that people don't want to trade it. I think Doge options is really a thing, especially for individual trade. It's not so much for the more TradFi household big names or so, but for the individual traders, Doge options is an opportunity to trade and to either hedge if you have Doge, or to hedge your perps positions, or even just to take a bet, right? So getting the liquidity, so working with the designated market makers in the background, making sure that they will quote in a good way, that you don't have too much of slippage, right? I mean, in options, if you go far out of the money, you don't care too much about real slippage because it's about the direction and the volatility. But still, you want to have a good offering. And for the altcoins, it's the same. Actually, it's this. I mean, we as BitMEX, we had that in the previous, discussion we had. We don't have an own trading desk, right? So we don't trade against our customers. So that means you need to get neutral designated market makers on the platform who provide good liquidity. Sometimes that works very well, sometimes it doesn't. And getting to a point where it's attractive is actually, for us, the difficult thing. It's not so much the pricing, it's not so much the tech behind. This is pretty standard, I would say. This is mature together with the PowerTrade guys and with us, and what we have built between ourselves, that could cater for any altcoin, basically, as long as we have pricing data, so index data, and then a market maker who's willing to put up the funds that are necessary to have good liquidity.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And real quick, talking about Doge, like there's an interesting opportunity there, because I think there's a lot of valid speculation that maybe Elon incorporates it out as part of the X platform. That would instantly make Doge go up a lot of money. But on the flip side, if I look at the past 2 years of performance, it's about equal to Ethereum performance, but with twice as much volatility. So on the one side, you can say volatility is expensive. On the other side, you can say volatility is cheap. So it's really kind of an interesting market that we could see like some really great perspectives and strategies trade around there.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it, right? I mean, actually, this is an asset that is, let's say, very well suited for option strategies because of that volatility. Yes, it's expensive. I mean, if you go long, so you need to pay the price, right? So yes, you pay a little bit more, but because of that higher volatility, the likelihood that you will go into the money is quite high. And at the same time, if you set your ranges in the right way, you can earn a lot of money by going short. I mean, yes, it has a risk, right? I mean, I wouldn't recommend to my mother to go short option strategies. But that's a different story, right? But if you know what you do, it's quite interesting. You can do much more than with ETH or even with Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, just kind of one more thought on there. When we're talking about option replication using perps, Dogecoin is a great example that, if it gets if Elon adds it to the X platform, there's a lot of jump risk where Dogecoin will probably triple in price in 2 seconds, and there would be no time to dynamic hedge. So options are really kind of the only way to kind of truly play that in a safe fashion. Mario, I'll pass it to you real quick. So something that Stephan had mentioned was getting good market makers who are neutral, who are neutral parties to the exchange, willing to make markets on different types of assets. So PowerTrade being around in the game for a while has a good network of market makers. How does that work? How did you guys get market makers onto the platform? And is there a good incentive program for like people who want to market make going forward? How do you guys think about that?
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into networking, mainly with market makers and convincing them to work with us. There is some incentives, they can contact our business development teams if they want to discuss incentives. But yeah, and then the process is, they come in, they have to integrate via API, obviously, in order to make markets. We need to make sure that there's enough Delta One liquidity as well for them to be able to hedge their exposure. So yeah, and it's not really straightforward to get market makers on board, but we've made a lot of progress. And with BitMEX now, and their brand name is become a lot less difficult to attract good quality market makers to the platforms. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Stephan, what do you think about the future of BitMEX in terms of the options adoption? Do you think that the spot Bitcoin ETF and ETH ETF having options here in the US will also grow the adoption of crypto volatility? Obviously, BitMEX is not a US based platform, but from a kind of a overall cross flows, overall open interest, do you think the future for options is bright? How do you think about it?
Short answer, yes. The future is bright. That's why we did it, right? And we believe now is a good time. Maybe a couple of words why or what the way of thinking is. As you say, we now have spot Bitcoin ETFs, we have spot ETH ETFs. So there will be more. Frankly, the signal from the ETH approvals was for me not so much, oh wow, we have an ETH ETF. Yes, it's nice, but frankly, it's hey. Crypto is even accepted in the US, not quite yet, but is accepted as a mainstream investment asset. So, and there will be more. I mean, we will add at a certain point in time basket ETFs, I think. So we will add more coins. I mean, not like the whole universe, that's not suitable, and you need to have the liquidity, but there is more to come from my point of view. It will take time. It is not like next month we will have the next. I don't think so. There will be more time because the ETH discussions, the Bitcoin discussions, what is it? Is it a security? Is it a currency? Blah blah. Took years if you look back, right? So we will have more, but there is more to come. With that, the overall market grows, and you see that in the US in particular, you see rather non-crypto players taking that up. On the asset management side, you see CME, right? I mean, you see the cooperations with Coinbase. I mean, Coinbase is a crypto native company, of course, but they cooperate quite a lot with the TradFi players, which is all good for the overall industry. So that increases demand. With this demand, we will have even more demand in our, let's say, pockets where our traders are coming from, because it's a global market in the end. I mean, this is a nice thing about crypto. If you look at equities trading is a local market. You always need to tag to your local, I mean, it's a good thing, but local regulated exchanges, even if you have a secondary listing. Whereas crypto for the main coins is a global market. The pricing is basically on a global level. It's like trading the consolidated tape in the US. And with that, if you have on one end of the globe more demand, you will have more demand at the other side of the globe as well, and arbitraging opportunities and so on and so on. So this is great. At the same time, I believe that for the more we see, especially for Bitcoin, ETH, and maybe one or two other coins, those ETFs coming in, I believe that volatility over time will reduce a little bit because you stabilize basically supply and demand. You have more stable and predictable in and outflows. I mean, they still fluctuate, and it will be more than in equities markets or in bond markets, so interest rate markets, but less so than in the past for those assets. So it's a little bit give and take. We will have more demand, we will have more opportunities, more on the arbitraging side. But I think that the overall time-wise volatility, if you look on a yearly volatility number, will reduce over time because it becomes a mainstream asset.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I have a really similar thesis that we should have structural decline in volatility, and like you mentioned, the supply dynamics of like market makers willing to sell volatility and people wanting to buy it. Usually, typically, the takers are retail who want to buy it. In normal times are about equal, but when we have mega fear of missing out bull markets, the volatility goes nuts because there's just more interest in buying it. And now with kind of more products being listed and institutions being able to take the other side of that, my thesis as well is that it should structurally decline. It's very interesting. So if anyone wants to learn more about BitMEX or BitMEX options or PowerTrade or PowerTrade's platform, where should they go and how can they find out more?
Yes. I mean, we have set up jointly educational channels. Basically, we have an education, which is like, hey, that's usual, but we have an educational content page with articles about options trading strategies and explainers. And as BitMEX usually shares all of our product specifications online, you can look it up. It's still not in a very consumable fashion. You need to somehow understand what you read, but we have put together an educational page. Basically, that's the landing page where you start and say, okay, what is a call? What is a put? How does it work? What do you do? Then we have regular AMAs on X and on other channels as well. We have podcasts set up together with experts from our side and PowerTrade side, where we explain strategies. We work even together with other content creators in the crypto space to showcase how you use the platform. And for serious option traders to say we really want to go into it, we want to really understand deeply how we can do it. We provide even one-on-one consultation sessions for Q&A, interface walkthroughs, etc., with the customer support and business development teams of PowerTrade and BitMEX. So it's more a matter of, hey, reach out, and if you don't find what you want, reach out to us directly. We will take care.
Fantastic. And Mario, on your side, any links or resources that you'd like to just share with listeners?
Yeah, the same. Actually, you can go to the website power.trade, and there's probably the same educational material that you'll find on BitMEX as well. In addition to that, we do host X Spaces. I believe there's one today with BitMEX. We're doing that with BitMEX jointly every week, I believe. So, and there's one today, if I'm not mistaken. You can find, if you go to Twitter, either BitMEX Twitter or PowerTrade Twitter, you'll find the information there. It's a very interesting, I think it's 1 hour discussion with experts in options and crypto traders.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. Again, congratulations. Really excited about you guys launching options and sort of the future of options trading at BitMEX. Thanks again.
Thanks. See you later. Hey, bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.